Siddhis, the greatest powers of world's creation, Chapter 3. In the first and second chapters, we explored various examples of Siddhis and psychic powers, drawing on diverse texts and spiritual traditions from yoga, tantra, and Buddhism. The third chapter, however, focuses more on the cosmology of Hinduism than on supernatural powers, Siddhis per se. Nonetheless, it unveils the secrets of the highest power held by the gods, as well as the potential that liberated beings who have ascended to the highest dimensions of existence can realize according to few sources, a power that surpasses all those accessible to humans on the lower planes of existence. This is the ultimate power, the creation of entire worlds and universes. Siddhis are generally linked to the manipulation of physical, astral, and mental phenomena, such as controlling time, space, and physical abilities of the body. However, they do not equate to the highest creative powers, which are typically attributed to deities or beings who have transcended Brahma's material creation and entered the highest spiritual realms. The highest known power is often regarded as the ability to create other worlds, undoubtedly surpassing all the Siddhis. This power is usually attributed to deities such as Brahma, creator, Vishnu, preserver, or Shiva, destroyer. In some traditions, the universe is described as Brahma's egg, Brahmanda, and sometimes as the cosmic body of Vishnu, illustrating their role as the source or area of creation. This concept is particularly emphasized in Vishishtadvaita cosmology, where the universe is seen as an extension of the deity's power or body. The cosmic body is often referred to as Virat-rupa or Vishvarupa, especially in connection with Vishnu in the Bhagavad Gita. Virat-rupa refers to the macrocosmic form of the universe, representing the entirety of creation, often seen as the physical manifestation of Purusha, cosmic being. Purusha, in Vedic cosmology, represents the universal spirit or cosmic soul from which all creation emanates. In the famous hymn from the Rig Veda known as the Purusha Sukta, Purusha is described as a cosmic entity whose body constitutes the entire universe. The heavens, earth, and all living beings are said to emerge from different parts of Purusha's body. The Virat-rupa is essentially the visible physical form of this cosmic being, encompass everything: planets, stars, mountains, oceans, animals, humans, and gods as aspects of this singular unified body. In this context, the Virat-rupa is not merely a personified deity, but the actual manifestation of the universe itself, from the vast expanse of galaxies to the smallest atom. It reflects the belief that all of existence is interconnected and arises from a single divine source. In Vedanta philosophy, the Virat-rupa is also seen as the gross, physical manifestation of Ishvara, the supreme personal God who governs the universe. It represents the Saguna Brahman, Brahman with attributes, where Brahman, the ultimate formless reality, takes on form and characteristics to become the universe itself. Vishvarupa, often synonymous with Virat-rupa, refers to the universal form of a deity, embodying the entire cosmos within a single divine manifestation, specifically that of Vishnu. This concept is most famously depicted in the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna, the eighth avatar of Vishnu, reveals his all-encompassing form to Arjuna. In this form, Krishna displays his true cosmic nature, encompassing everything, past, present, and future. Arjuna witnesses countless deities, celestial beings, and cosmic entities, all within Krishna's divine form. He sees the entire creation, including all creatures, planets, stars, gods, demons, and time itself, merging into and emanating from Krishna. This form represents the ultimate unity of the universe and the transcendental reality behind all existence. The vision of the Vishvarupa emphasizes the idea that the divine is omnipresent and that all of creation is merely a manifestation of the same divine essence. Depending on the tradition, not only Vishnu or his avatar Krishna may be represented in the Vishvarupa form, which encompasses the entire universe. Other deities, such as Lord Shiva or the goddess Ma Durga, Adi Parashakti, are also often depicted in this universal form. Adi Parashakti, the primordial power, is revered in various Hindu traditions, especially in the Shaktism tradition, as the supreme divine feminine force from which all creation originates. In many texts, she is considered the ultimate source of energy, consciousness, and power, embodying the fundamental creative force that sustains and pervades the universe. She is often depicted as transcending all forms and aspects, including the cosmic manifestations of other deities, making her a central figure in the universe's creation, preservation, and dissolution. According to Hindu cosmology, Adi Parashakti is both the creator and the essence of creation itself. Adi Parashakti is described as the power behind the cosmos, initiating the cycles of existence and maintaining universal balance. She is sometimes represented in a cosmic form akin to the Virat-Purusha or Vishvarupa, the universal forms associated with Vishnu. In this manifestation, she is visualized as encompassing all of creation within herself, with various parts of her body symbolizing aspects of the cosmos. Her cosmic form symbolizes her all-pervasive nature and her role as both the source and the essence of all beings and realms. Thus, the powers of Shakti manifested by Adi Parashakti in her lower forms, especially within the lower tattva of Prakriti, are often associated with Maya, and in some spiritual traditions are considered a passing illusion perceived by individual consciousness, obscuring the true nature of Purusha, supreme consciousness. However, in Tantric and Shaiva traditions, Prakriti is viewed as the foundational substance or creative energy of the material world. While most non-dualistic traditions seek to overcome the limitations of Maya by realizing oneself as Purusha, the Tantric and Shaiva paths focus on embracing Shakti rather than fully negating it. Ultimately, in Shaivism and Shaktism, the practitioner aims to realize the unity between Shiva consciousness and Shakti power. In many traditions, Ma Durga is seen as the direct embodiment or personified form of Adi Parashakti, representing her supreme and all-encompassing nature. The belief is that Adi Parashakti, as the ultimate formless divine energy, takes on the form of Durga when she manifests to protect, nurture, and sustain the universe. In this sense, Durga is often seen as the fully manifest, accessible aspect of Adi Parashakti, especially revered as the mother and protector of creation. The supreme goddess, Ma Durga, embodies the divine power of Shakti and is revered in many forms and incarnations, including Parvati, Kali, and Tripura Sundari, as well as the 9 manifestations and forms of Navadurga. In Shaktism, Ma Durga is often considered the embodiment of Parabrahman, the highest reality and the indivisible, ultimate energy of Brahman. In some traditions, Devi Mahakali or Tripura Sundari are revered as her highest forms. In Shaivism, however, Parabrahman or Parashiva is considered to be Shiva himself. Nevertheless, both Shaktism and Shaivism present the universe's creation as a divine interplay between Shiva, consciousness, and Shakti, energy. Shakti does not exist without Shiva, nor can he manifest without her. Sometimes Shiva is depicted in the form of Ardhanarishvara, illustrating the inseparable cosmic union of Shiva Shakti, Shiva and Parvati. So, in Shaivism cosmology, Shiva is often seen as the ultimate reality or consciousness, and is expressed through concepts such as Paramashiva or Siva-Sakti, which represent the union of pure consciousness, Shiva, and its creative energy, Shakti. Together, they are responsible for the creation, sustenance, and dissolution of the universe. In the traditions of Shaivism and Shaktism, the powers of cosmic creation are often viewed as the 5 metaphysical powers of Shakti, Adi Parashakti, which are also intrinsic aspects of Shiva's cosmic activity in the form of Paramashiva, Parashiva. The 5 Shakti powers, Chit Shakti, consciousness, Ananda Shakti, bliss, Icha Shakti, will, Kriya Shakti, action, and Jnana Shakti, knowledge, are the foundational forces behind all of creation. These powers represent different aspects of the divine creative process. Chit Shakti is the power of pure awareness, the foundation from which creation arises. Ananda Shakti represents divine bliss, motivating creation as an expression of joy. Icha Shakti is the power of will, acting as the impulse for manifestation. Kriya Shakti is the creative force that brings intention into action, giving form to creation. Jnana Shakti is the power of knowledge, ensuring the universe functions in harmony with cosmic laws. These 5 powers are thus presented as aspects of the divine consciousness of Paramashiva. Together, these 5 powers enable the divine act of creation, maintenance, and destruction. At the onset of creation, Shiva releases these 5 powers, and during dissolution, he draws them back into himself. With the help of these aspects of Shakti, Shiva realizes the 5 activities of Panchakritya: creation, Srishti, preservation, Sthiti, destruction, Samhara, concealing grace, Tirabhava, and revealing grace, Anugraha. To illustrate this process, the 5-faced image of Shiva, known as Sadashiva, also called Panchabrahma or Panchanana, is often used. Each face of the Panchabrahma is endowed with different attributes and names: Sadyojata, Vamadeva, Agora, Tatpurusha, and Ishana. Sadyojata represents Icha Shakti and is associated with Brahma, embodying the power of creation. Vamadeva represents Kriya Shakti and is associated with Vishnu, symbolizing the sustaining forces. Agora represents Jnana Shakti and is associated with Rudra, representing the forces of dissolution. Tatpurusha represents Ananda Shakti and is associated with Maheshwara. The 5th face, Ishana, represents Chit Shakti, is often depicted at the top, and is associated with Sadashiva. Paramashiva may also be depicted in the cosmic form of Vishvarupa, in which he encompasses within his form all deities, humans, and animals. While these Shaktis are ultimately divine and associated with Shiva, advanced yogis or enlightened beings in Shaivism may experience these powers as they realize their oneness with Shiva, the ultimate source of all these energies. However, even though yogis may experience these forces, they are seen as expressions of the divine rather than personal achievements or individual abilities. Enlightened beings act as conduits for divine will, reflecting Shakti's cosmic forces acting through them. For a person with ordinary and limited consciousness, obscured by ignorance, Maya, these powers of Shakti are hidden behind Shuddha-Ashuddha Tattvas, or Kanchukas, veils, and Malas, limitations. Kala, limited power or ability, veils Kriya, the unlimited power to act. Vidya, limited knowledge, veils Jnana, unlimited knowledge of supreme creation. Raga, attachment to particular things, veils Icha, the supreme will to create. Kala, limitation of eternity, veils Ananda Shakti, boundless bliss. Niyati Tattva, limited spiritual consciousness, veils Chit Shakti, pure awareness. Maya Tattva, in turn, is the universally formative and limiting principle that brings into being these 5 sheaths, Pancha-Kanchuka, which restrict the universal self to being and the individual soul. The 5 Kanchukas, limitations, are also closely tied to the 3 malas, or impurities, which veil the inherent nature of the universal self and shape the experience of individuality. Anava mala, smallness, the root impurity that creates the feeling of limitation and individuality. Maya mala, illusion, introduces duality, making the world appear as distinct from oneself and reinforces the division between self and other. Karma mala, action bound, binds individuals to the cycle of cause and effect. In essence, the malas and kanchukas serve as mechanisms through which the one experiences itself as the many, allowing for individual experiences and the journey back toward realization. These limitations are overcome through spiritual practices that dissolve the malas, allowing one to experience Paramashiva's pure, unlimited nature. As one progresses in spiritual realization, these veils are being removed, allowing for the direct experience of the pure powers of Chit Shakti, Ananda Shakti, Icha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti in their liberated forms. These Shakti powers are often connected to the practices of Kundalini Yoga, where the balance of Ida Nadi, Icha Shakti, and Pingala Nadi, Kriya Shakti, allows Kundalini energy to flow into the Sushumna Nadi, Jnana Shakti, facilitating the awakening of higher consciousness. However, the unlimited and divine powers of Shakti should not be confused with Siddhis, which are abilities that manifest at lower levels, although all powers are, in one way or another, manifestations of Shakti. In Kashmir Shaivism, the powers of Shakti are traditionally divided into 3 categories: the highest, Parashakti, the intermediate, Paraparashakti, and the lower power, Aparashakti. In Gaudiya Vaishnavism, there is a similar division of Shakti, where the highest, Parashakti, is also called Svarupa Shakti, the intermediate is called Kshetragya Shakti, Tatastha Shakti, or Jiva Shakti, and the lower Apara Shakti is also known as Bahiranga Shakti, Avidya Shakti, or Maya. Apara means lower or limited, and in this context, Apara Shakti represents the energy functioning within the material, manifested world. This power relates to both mental energies and the forces of nature, including Siddhis, which are manifestations of this lower power, Apara Shakti. Thus, Siddhi are considered part of the phenomenal realm of powers associated with material and mental energies rather than the transcendental powers of Parashakti. Para means supreme or beyond, and Parashakti refers to the transcendental or supreme aspect of Shakti. It is the unmanifest absolute power, often associated with Shiva's own pure consciousness, Paramashiva, and exists beyond any division, form, or limitation. While the divine powers of Parashakti are accessible to beings who have achieved realization, Siddhis are usually associated with Aparashakti, and are often described as abilities that arise from a concentrated mind or specific yogic practices. They can be accessed at various stages, even by those who are not realized beings. In fact, many asuras and individuals involved in occult practices are noted in Hindu and Buddhist texts to acquire siddhis, but this does not equate to spiritual realization. These abilities tend to align with rajasic, active forces, which fuel desires, attachments, or specific worldly objectives. Such siddhis can serve personal or even selfish goals, making them prone to misuse without the wisdom of realization. The aim of many spiritual traditions is to transcend the layers of obscuration known as kanchukas or coverings that limit our perception of the true self. Such coverings also encourage attachments, not only to ordinary human desires but to subtle powers, like Siddhis, that may arise through spiritual practices. While Siddhis can seem alluring, they relate to experiences associated to the lower Tattvas, Ashuddha Tattvas, and can become obstacles, binding one to mala, impurities, and further obscuring the self. The attraction of all these lower powers, including Siddhis, should not become an obstacle. Such allure can obscure our true self and serve as a barrier to its realization. In essence, Siddhis are various supernormal powers that can be attained and experienced within the realms, lokas, of the Brahmandas, or manifest worlds. These powers, often associated with the mind and subtle elements, arise within the framework of Maya and are ultimately bound by the veiling, Kanchukas, that limit true awareness. In contrast, the divine powers of Parashakti, which transcend the confines of the Brahmandas, emanate from realms beyond Maya and remain untainted by the limitations of the material or astral planes of the Brahmanda. An important concept in Hinduism is Brahmanda, Brahma's egg or the cosmic egg, symbolizes the cosmic womb or container of all creation, representing our universe. The process of creation is linked to Brahma, the embodiment of the creative force within the universe, who initiates creation. Within the cosmic void, the first movement of creation occurs in the form of the Hiranyagarbha, the golden womb or seed, which represents the Brahmanda. This is described as an egg-shaped sphere that contains the seed of all matter, energy, space, time, and life. The entire universe emerges from the cosmic egg, giving birth to the heavens, the earth, and all realms, as well as the various beings, deities, and forces within the universe. This process marks the beginning of Brahma's day, a kalpa, which is the cycle of creation. Brahmanda exists for the duration of Brahma's life, and at the end of this cycle, it dissolves back into the primordial ocean in a process called pralaya, cosmic dissolution. This dissolution is often associated with Shiva's cosmic dance, Tandava, symbolizing the destruction of the universe. After dissolution, a new Brahmanda is formed, and the process begins again in an endless cycle of creation and destruction. It is believed that this universe is not the only one of its kind, but that there are countless universes, Brahmandas, each existing in its own cosmic egg, with its own creator deity or Brahma, and governed by its own natural laws. The human being is often seen as a microcosmic reflection of the Brahmanda, the cosmic egg of Brahma, aligning with the core principle of the unity between microcosm and macrocosm, which is a key element in Indian spiritual philosophy and cosmology. The concept of Kshudra-Brahmanda, little egg of Brahma, symbolizing the human microcosm, is a reflection of cosmic forces and realms known as lokas. For example, the 7 chakras of the human body are often identified to the 7 upper lokas in Hindu cosmology. The Muladhara chakra, the root chakra, corresponds to Bhuloka, the earthly realm, while the Sahasrara chakra, the crown chakra, located above the head, through which a person connects with the higher forces or the divine source beyond the lokas, corresponds to Satya Loka or Brahma Loka, the highest realm. Thus, the human microcosm mirrors the Brahmanda, essentially being its miniature version, the little egg of Brahma. Although this topic is not widely developed, some traditions discuss the possibility of transcending all lokas and forms, ultimately achieving the ability to create one's own universes. Although the idea of possessing the ability to create worlds can be found in some mystical traditions, it is not the central focus of spiritual practice. The essence of true spiritual realization lies in transcending the need for worldly or supernatural abilities. The pure divine power, the power of Shakti, is the only force that should be embraced through surrender and submission, rather than through the desire to possess or control it. It is important to remember that the desire for such powers or superhuman abilities can bind a person to attachments, thereby distancing them from genuine spiritual awakening and becoming a significant obstacle on the path. The power to create universes in most Hindu cosmologies primarily resides with the Supreme Being, often understood as Nirguna Brahman, the formless Absolute, Narayana in Vaishnavism, or Purusha depending on the tradition. This divine power may also manifest through deities such as Brahma, the creator deity in our universe, or through avatars and forms of Saguna Brahman, Brahman with attributes. In the Advaita Vedanta tradition, Saguna Brahman typically refers to Ishvara, God or the Lord, as the supreme personal deity. In this context, Ishvara can take on the forms of deities such as Vishnu, Shiva, or Brahma, forming the Trimurti, Trinity of creation, preservation, and destruction. The ultimate reality, Brahman, should not be confused with the deity Brahma, who is considered the creator of our universe, Brahmanda, and is more often associated with the worship and bhakti traditions connected to Vishnu and Shiva. However, in traditions like Advaita Vedanta, the focus is on the realization of Brahman as the ultimate goal. In this framework, all beings are considered to be Brahman in their essence, and through self-realization, advanced sages transcend the illusion of separation from Brahman. Probably, through this realization, enlightened sages who achieve higher states of consciousness can access the creative power inherent in the Supreme Being, or Brahman, allowing them to influence or even create new realms. While the authority to create worlds stems from the Supreme Being, those who realize their oneness with the Supreme Reality can potentially manifest this divine power by transcending ordinary limitations. However, even beings in a limited or darkened consciousness are capable of generating worlds and creating universes within the realm of their individual consciousness, as described in the Yoga Vasistha. The story of Lila from the Yoga Vasistha, Utpatti Prakaranam, is one of the most famous stories that touches on the theme of multiple universes and their perception. The Yoga Vasistha is a philosophical dialogue between the sage Vasistha and Prince Rama, exploring deep metaphysical concepts, the nature of reality, and how the mind creates and perceives the universe. In this story, Sarasvati helps Leela by taking her through various planes of existence, revealing the cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. Together they rise into space and see all of creation. Beyond that, they encounter pure consciousness. In this infinite consciousness, universes, jivas, individual souls, and forms arise and dissolve again. The Yoga Vasistha emphasizes that consciousness is the sole and infinite essence from which all of existence arises. The Yoga Vasistha portrays consciousness not as merely existing within or operating in different realms, but as the origin and source that actively manifests them. In this text, pure and infinite consciousness is the highest reality, creating the appearance of various realms and dimensions, including the apparent reality of the material universe. From the vast universe to the individual mind, all forms emerge from and ultimately dissolve back into this singular consciousness. In the Yoga Vasistha, the manifested world is often referred to as Maya, illusion, or Mithya, something with conditional or dependent reality. While the universe appears real within the framework of individual experience and consciousness, it ultimately lacks independent, absolute reality. It is sustained by the play of consciousness, or chit, and thus exists in a kind of paradox. It is real insofar as it is experienced, yet unreal in that it does not exist independently of consciousness. Apart from pure consciousness, there are neither senses nor mind, nor even their objects. It is consciousness alone that appears as the objects in nature and as the senses within the individual. Each individual reality created within consciousness is thus a unique and unrepeatable universe, reflecting the singular nature of that embodied being's perceptions, thoughts, and experiences. In this view, every mind gives rise to its own cosmos, a distinct world that comes into being through consciousness. The Yoga Vasistha explains that beings who have attained realization possess a profound understanding of the illusory nature of forms and reality. They are aware of the perceived world not as a fixed existing reality, but as a projection of their own consciousness. For such beings, all creation is seen as a playful expression, lila, of consciousness, and their actions are free from attachment and ignorance. In contrast, those who have not yet reached realization remain bound by ignorance, perceiving their creations as absolute and real, shaped by desires, fears, and conditioning. Sage Vasistha describes the concept of infinite worlds existing within worlds, even within each individual soul atom. He explains that even the smallest atom can contain entire worlds in countless forms. Each of these worlds and universes is simultaneously real and unreal. Real in subjective experience, yet ultimately unreal as they are limited, divided, and transitory manifestations of a single, limitless consciousness. Thus, the Yoga Vasistha confirms the existence of multiple universes and realities, drawing parallels between the microcosm of individual jivas, souls, and entire universes. Here, both the macrocosm and the microcosm are merely projections of the mind within consciousness rather than independent realities, continuously emerging and dissolving within a singular infinite consciousness. By realizing themselves in the highest consciousness, sages attain states in which cosmic creation becomes an expression of their divine nature. Such instances are sometimes mentioned in Indian texts and legends. In some Hindu traditions, particularly in the Advaita Vedanta tradition, it is believed that the root cause of all existence is Brahman, the ultimate reality, which is eternal and unchanging. The Atman, individual self, is in essence identical to Brahman, but the perceived separation or individuality of the Atman arises from ignorance, avidya, and maya, illusion. Although the experience of individual consciousness may create the illusion of separateness, Atman is in reality identical to or one with Brahman. The intellect, buddhi, ego, ahamkara, mind, manas, and sense organs act as veils, upadhis, over the true nature of the self, Atman, creating the illusion of separateness. These upadhis obscure the true nature of the Atman, and when ignorance is removed, the individual realizes the Atman as identical to Brahman. In the experience of ignorance, consciousness appears conditioned by karma, vasanas, mental impressions, and samskaras, past conditioning. These limitations shape perception and bind the individual to the cycle of rebirth, but they disappear when the individual realizes their true nature as Brahman. The experience of consciousness is often conditioned by the plane of existence and the limitations of the sense organs through which it perceives reality. For example, in the physical plane, consciousness is shaped by the physical mind and bound to the material world, in contrast to the boundless freedom and divine play inherent in higher consciousness. In Hindu traditions, these planes of existence known as lokas are hierarchically arranged, ranging from spiritual realms to lower realms within the Brahmanda, which represents our universe. Actually, these 14 lokas are reflected in the form of Vishnu's Vishvarupa, and the upper lokas correspond to the chakra system within the human body. Divine acts of creating universes are often viewed as forms of divine play, lila, where deities manifest realities as expressions of their perfect state of consciousness. The world is frequently described as a spontaneous creation of Brahman, reflecting the Lila of Brahman. In this context, creation is not driven by necessity, but is an expression of divine bliss and freedom. There is probably no greater power than the power of world creation, where all powers and siddhis are merely illusions within these creations. The idea that there are countless universes beyond our own, all created, sustained, and dissolved by divine powers, aligns with various metaphysical teachings in Hinduism. In ancient Hindu texts, especially the Puranas, often describe multiple universes, Brahmandas, each governed by its own Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. It is often mentioned in the texts that Brahma, the creator god of our universe, is merely one among countless other Brahmas, each presiding over a separate universe. In Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 21, there is a famous episode where Lord Krishna summons multiple Brahmas from different universes. The story goes like this. Lord Krishna, while residing in Dwaraka, was visited by the Brahma of our universe. When Brahma arrived, he saw Krishna's doorman and requested permission to meet with Krishna. The doorman asked which Brahma was requesting an audience, and Brahma, surprised, responded, "What do you mean? I am the only Brahma." Krishna then invites Brahma inside, and to Brahma's amazement, Krishna summons many other Brahmas from countless other universes. Some of these Brahmas have more than 4 heads, some with 8, 16, or even 1,000 heads, indicating that they preside over larger or more complex universes. Brahma from our universe realizes that his power, though vast, is only relative to his own universe, and there are many other Brahmas in different universes, each with their own roles. In Hindu texts, it is said that innumerable Brahmandas exist simultaneously, each forming part of an infinite cosmic system known as the Multiverse, or Ananta-Koti-Brahmandas, countless eggs or universes. Ananta means endless or infinite, and Koti refers to a large number, often interpreted as 10 million. Each universe consists of its own lokas, planes of existence, which may include heavenly realms, earthly realms, and underworld realms. These realms represent different planes where various beings, such as humans, gods, demons, and spirits, reside. According to Hindu traditions, our Brahmanda consists of 14 lokas, with upper spiritual worlds and lower hellish lokas centered around the Bhuloka, the earthly realm. Often, in certain interpretations, the supreme deities responsible for creation, preservation, and destruction across the different Brahmandas, universes, are considered manifestations of the Supreme Being. Depending on the tradition, it can be Parabrahman, Parashiva, or Adinarayana. These deities function as localized entities managing specific universes, but ultimately they are non-different from the infinite source of all creation. One of the legends associated with multiple universes features the prominent sage Narada. In Hindu mythology, Narada is often portrayed as a divine messenger and traveling sage who traverses various realms, lokas, and sometimes even different universes, Brahmandas. His ability to move between multiple universes, Ananta-Koti-Brahmandas, reflects his divine status as a sage beyond ordinary time and space. Narada often serves as a messenger of divine will, delivering news or guidance between gods, humans, and other beings. In Puranas, an episode is mentioned where Narada approaches Lord Vishnu with his usual curiosity about the nature of creation and the vastness of the universe. Narada asks Vishnu how the cosmos works and whether there are other universes besides the one he knows. Lord Vishnu transports Narada through various Brahmandas, revealing to him that there are innumerable universes, each with its own Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Narada is astonished to witness countless Brahmas, each presiding over their respective universes and carrying out the cycles of creation, preservation, and destruction. In one version of the story, Narada even meets different forms of himself in other Brahmandas, performing similar roles as a divine sage. In Hindu traditions, sometimes not only gods but also beings who have realized their divine nature are able to control reality and even create new worlds. Ancient texts of India contain stories of great sages and ascetics who attain immense powers through their practices and are even capable of creating entire worlds or heavens. For example, the legend of Vishvamitra describes a revered sage in Hindu mythology known for his extraordinary spiritual powers. Initially a Kshatriya king, he transformed into a Brahmarishi, a sage of the highest order, through intense meditation and tapasya, austerities. Vishvamitra used his immense spiritual powers to create an alternate heaven, Trishanku Swarga, when King Trishanku desired to ascend to heaven in his physical body. Although great sages like Rishi Vasistha assured that it is not possible to reach heaven and be one with the Paramatma in a physical body, this is possible only for the soul, Atman. Vishvamitra's power allowed him to defy cosmic laws by creating a new parallel universe, complete with its own stars and heaven for Trishanku. The gods were left in awe, for the sage had created a heaven even better than the original. However, Vishvamitra had to start his tapasya again, as he had exhausted all his powers in creating an entire alternate reality. In spiritual traditions associated with the teachings of Kabir, a saint and poet of the 15th century, Satlok is considered the abode of advanced devotees. In traditions like Sant Mat or Kabir Panth mysticism, the term Hamsa or Hansa refers to a soul that has regained its original nature, transcending the lower realms of existence and reaching the plane of Satlok. Each of these Hansas is believed to have their own dweep, island in Satlok, the Dham, or abode, where they are absorbed in contemplation or the darshan of Satpurush, the true creator. According to legend, Jyoti Niranjan also desired his own realm. Jyoti Niranjan, Kal or Ksharpurush, is often identified with Brahma, and is considered the creator or ruler of the 21 Brahmans, universes. Some traditions claim that he is the creator of only the material and astral spheres within the Brahmandas bestowed upon him by God Kabir. There is a legend that after Jyoti Niranjan performed a long tapasya, meditating on one leg for 70 yugas, God Kabir granted him control over 21 Brahmans. However, Jyoti Niranjan is typically portrayed as an ignorant ruler, responsible for keeping souls trapped in the cycle of birth and death. This distinguishes him from the deity Brahma in Hinduism. Moreover, parallels are sometimes drawn between Jyoti Niranjan and the figure of Satan in Christian theology within certain mystical and esoteric traditions. In these teachings, he is often depicted as an obstacle on the soul's journey toward higher spiritual planes. In contrast to this lower realm, the true spiritual goal in these traditions is to rise beyond Jyoti Niranjan's domain and reach the eternal regions such as Satlok, the true home, Agam Lok, the inaccessible region, or the highest region, Anami Lok, the nameless region. The tradition suggests that once a soul transcends the physical, astral, and causal planes, it enters higher spiritual realms like Satlok, where it is in the presence of Satpurush, the true creator. However, as the soul ascends beyond Satlok, it reaches even higher planes. In Agamaloka, the inaccessible plane, It is believed that the soul attains incredible powers attributed to the gods, including the potential to create its own worlds. The description of the plurality of worlds is not exclusive to Indian tradition, as similar ideas are also found in Buddhist tradition. In Mahayana Buddhism, particularly in the Avatamsaka Sutra, also known as the Flower Garland Sutra, there is a profound cosmological vision of infinite realms and countless worlds created by enlightened beings such as Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. This concept relates to the idea that highly realized beings can manifest entire worlds or pure lands to aid in the spiritual liberation of sentient beings. According to the Avatamsaka Sutra, the universe is not a singular entity, but an infinite network of interconnected realms, each with its own characteristics, dimensions, and inhabitants. These realms are vast beyond comprehension and exist simultaneously, often overlapping or interpenetrating one another. The Avatamsaka Sutra presents a vision where advanced bodhisattvas can create their own pure lands, thus reflecting their compassion and dedication to liberating others. In this way, creating worlds is an act of skillful means, upaya, that allows enlightened beings to adapt their teachings to the needs of sentient beings across different realms, helping them on the path toward Buddhahood. For instance, Amitabha Buddha's Sukhavati, the Western Pure Land, is one of the most well-known examples of a Pure Land. Beings born in Sukhavati are freed from the suffering and distractions of ordinary existence, enabling them to focus on attaining enlightenment without the hindrances of samsaric life. In addition, Tibetan Buddhist traditions, particularly within the Kagyu schools, include practices aimed at consciously transferring the consciousness of the deceased to the Pure Land Sukhavati of Amitabha Buddha, a realm associated with enlightenment and peace. This practice, known as Phowa, involves specific visualization and meditation techniques that train practitioners to intentionally guide their mind stream, transferring consciousness to the Pure Lands at the time of death. It may be noted that today, the idea of multiple universes, or the multiverse, is no longer something purely fantastical from spiritual and mystical realms. Concepts such as parallel universes or multiple realities are increasingly part of mainstream scientific research, the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, the theory of cosmic inflation and bubble universes, string theory, and black holes and wormholes. While each of us is constantly creating our own mental worlds through thoughts and perceptions, these creations are often shaped by the limitations of conditioning, ignorance, and karma. However, the attainment of divine consciousness opens access to the highest realms of existence, where the liberated soul is no longer constrained by ignorance or physical limitations. Even the siddhis and psychic powers that captivate many spiritual seekers are, in reality, manifestations of temporary forces in the conditioned realm, arising from the fluctuations of emotions and a mind still caught in the dualities of lower dimensions. These powers, though extraordinary, are merely part of the play of forces within this limited reality. Only by transcending all limitations and realizing the divine nature of the self can one access the limitless power, where, according to some spiritual and mystical teachings, the creation of entire universes becomes possible.